I wish to extend my heartfelt thanks for your culturally rich and highly engaging performance. That was a really divine performance. Please give a round of applause. Thank you, Bhargav and Kamala, for warm welcome. It gives me an immense privilege to invite Dr. M. Sudhakar Sir, beloved Principal and Professor of Mallareddy College of Pharmacy, to honor the dais. I request Kavya to welcome Sir with a bouquet. I welcome Chief Guest and Speaker Dr. Umesh Banakar Sir to occupy the seat on dais. I request Nikisha to welcome Sir with a bouquet. I welcome Dr. Parthiban Sir, Professor and Event Coordinator of Mallareddy College of Pharmacy. I request Rishita to welcome Sir with a bouquet. Light is the symbol of prosperity, well-being, spreads light, and light of spiritual knowledge and abundance. I request all the dignitaries on this dais to lighten the lamp. Let us offer a prayer as a start of our day to express thankfulness. I welcome students of Mallareddy College of Pharmacy, Shravya, Nitisha and Rishita for the prayer song.
गणनायकाय गणदैवताय गणाध्यक्षाय धीमहि गुणशरीराय गुणमण्डिताय गुणेशानाय धीमहि गुणातीताय गुणाधीशाय गुणप्रविष्टाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय बालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय बालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि गानचतुराय गानप्राणाय गानान्तरात्मने गानोत्सुकाय गानमत्ताय गानोत्सुकमनसे गुरुपूजिताय गुरुदैवताय गुरुकुलत्सायिने गुरुविक्रमाय गुह्यप्रवराय गुरवे गुणगुरवे गुरुदैत्यगणक्षेत्रे गुरुधर्मसराराध्याय गुरुपुत्रपरित्रात्रे गुरुपाखण्डकण्डकाय गीतसाराय गीततत्त्वाय गीतगोत्राय धीमहि गूढगुल्फाय गण्डमत्ताय गोजयप्रदाय धीमहि गुणातीताय गुणाधीशाय गुणप्रविष्टाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय बालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय बालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for giving positive energy to the start of the event. I invite Veena B from second year to give introduction of principal sir. Myself Veena from B from second year section B. Here I am going to say few words about our beloved principal sir. Dr. M. Sudhakar Garu graduated from Andhra University, Visakhapatnam in 1986, M.Pharmacy in 1988 and PhD in 2004 from JNTU University, Hyderabad. He has an experience of 35 years in the field of teaching and administration. He is a resourceful person for various AICTE workshops. His 220 research publications of national and international orders stands as testimony and to his strengths. He is bent on making this college into one of the most sought after centers for excellence through his quality education and research orientation. He is a life member of professional bodies like APIA, APTI and APGA. He is an executive member of APTI. He is a member of Board of Studies for Pharmacy in Osmania University. Under his successful guidance, 14 students were awarded PhD by JNTU University, Hyderabad and 2 candidates were awarded PhD by Osmania University and 2 candidates were awarded PhD by Annamalai University. Totally, he guided 18 PhD candidates. At present, he is guiding 6 candidates for PhD programs. He is a resource person for video lectures in pharmaceutics and he wrote 6 textbooks in pharmaceutics. Under his guidance, college got NBA accreditation, 3rd cycle and college got recognition under UGC 2F NRAF ranking. Thank you.
Good morning all, my dear students. Respected Dr. Umesh Banekar sir, my colleague Dr. Parthiban sir, coordinator for this program, and all colleagues, learned colleagues of my team, so many senior most faculty in our college. Because of them, we are getting success all the time. And coming to the students of B Pharmacy, PharmD and M Pharmacy programs. I welcome you all for the today's session, International Seminar on IPR. IPR stands for what? Intellectual property rights. What right you have? What type of property? What is that intellectual? We heard this word so many times. Dr. Banekar sir is going to give a detailed information about this IPR and its opportunities in the world. And as you all know that we have the courses like B Pharmacy. College started in 2004 and with the approval of AICT and Pharmacy Council of India. And our B Pharm is approved by the National Board of Accreditation. And NIRF, second year also we got the ranking last year and this year also. We started applying last year only, but we got this, 2 years we got this NIRF ranking. And even you have the UGC 2F also. That indicates the standards of our college. And all the time, students, they have to focus on the higher education. What next we have to do after B Pharm is over, or M Pharm is over, PharmD is over? Generally, we have a question when you are joining a course. What next? After B Pharm, what next? A higher education or a job? I prefer higher education. To the possible extent, try to do the higher education. And so that we can reach the higher positions easily. We can acquire more amount of knowledge in your life. And this type of seminars will enlighten you about the newer things in their life. Generally, all parents, all students, what they want. Once B Pharm is over, once M Pharm is over, we want the job in Hyderabad, in Kokatpalli Housing Board only, or in Mysore Goda only. We don't want to go anywhere. College bus must be there, our company must be there. They should provide free accommodation or free transport. This type of things we need to see. It's not like that. World is very big. We have n number of opportunities. Only the thing is, you should have some enthusiasm to knock those doors. World is very big. Sir is from Maharashtra and he has been to US for the last 40 years, 46 years. Sir is in the US. So we should take an example of such a great people, and we don't commit yourself to the Pragat Nagar or Kokatpalli Housing Board industries only. Okay? Most of the students from Kokatpalli, that's why I'm using that word Kokatpalli only. Right? Or Nizampet maximum. Don't restrict yourself. World is very big. You're a boy or girl, it is a material. We can fly anywhere. We may think that America, Russia, or you can say London is very far. It is not very far. Just 24 hours journey. You can reach any part of the world. 24 hours journey. From here to Chennai about some 18 hours. From here to Delhi about some 26 hours. The same 26 hours you can travel by flight. You can reach the US or Canada, anywhere, or Australia also. So it's not the matter of distance, not the matter of journey time and all. Just we feel that first time when we are going there, we feel that we are going to a distant country. It is nothing. The second time we feel that it's like our home country only. So don't worry about. So wherever opportunity is there, we must knock it. We must be able to grab it. Don't think that I have to go to Delhi or some Chandigarh, all these things, or you have to go to Canada. It is not a very far distance. So this type of sessions, it will be useful to you. And even suppose every day what we are doing, attending the first year anatomy, physiology laboratory, afternoon theory, practicals, all these things now. Like this, it is the regular sessions. Something different you have to plan it. Like this, we are planning almost once in a month some sessions. So now, of course, because of some corona, there was some lacuna for last 2 or 3 years. Now again, the world has come to the normal position only. So we can arrange. We have some industry tour also last year for the last month for the 3rd years. I'm arranging sequence of the so many industrial tours for all the B Pharm and PharmD students. And we have a very big hospital, 1,000-bed hospital is there. Multi-specialty hospital is there. It is owned up by our Malaradi sir only. We can learn a lot. This is the time to learn a lot. This is the 4 years time, that the happy days. Happiness we have to find out in learning. Not in the movies, not in the OTT movies and all. Right? We have to learn, we have to get the happiness in the learning the newer things. Earlier, when you are studying, We have only textbooks only. We don't have any YouTube. We don't have any Google and all. Some 40 years back story and all. But now, world is in your hand. A small mobile is taking you to anywhere in the world. Suppose some doubt is that we are able to clarify immediately. But earlier means we have to go to library or search so many books. Suppose if I have doing the research PhD also, where we have some abstracts, we have to verify, you have to prepare a document. But now within 2 seconds you can get the complete information about any drug. So such a manner, the world is things are very easy for you to learn. Grab this opportunity. Don't misuse all these things. Grab this opportunity to learn something. And I request all the students and staff also to utilize this opportunity, learn the things, try to prepare the running notes, not simply listening. How you are making the running notes in the classroom, write the running notes from the lecture and try to get maximum information to it. And after the session, we have the poster presentation, of course. I requested sir to give the prizes for all the winners in the posters. And that's the thing about the today's session. I welcome Dr. Banakar sir for the today's session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your inspirational words. I request Neha of BPharm second year to give introduction of our honorable speaker, Dr. Umesh Banakar, sir.
Myself, I am Sneha from B Pharmacy second year. I am here to say few words about Dr. Umesh Banakar garu. Dr. Umesh Banakar sir is Professor of Pharmaceutical Technology and an independent consultant to pharmaceutical industry and academia. Worldwide, with extensive contribution in drug product development and evaluation in vitro and clinical. During his academic career, he has served as Professor of Pharmaceutics, Director of Research, Chairperson of Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences, and Head of Graduate School at 3 universities in the US. He is the founder of Goa Center for Excellence in Intellectual Property, which is non-profit, personally funded center to promote IP awareness nationwide. He has served as testifying, non-testifying, expert in 70 patent litigations in the disciplines of pharmaceutical formulations, clinical investigations, and dissolution testing. He is the founding chairperson of 2 international CROs and has executed over 800 clinical trials. Additionally, he is the founding board member and principal scientific advisor of Society for Pharmaceutical Dissolution Science. He is on the International Scientific Advisory Board of several pharmaceutical corporations worldwide. Of date, he has successfully completed several pharmaceutical product development technology transfer through education assignments sponsored by US and other pharmaceutical corporations worldwide. Additionally, he has planned and executed the development both in vitro and clinical of several NDAs and ANDAs. He has authored over 100 publications, presentations, numerous specialized workshop manuals, and several chapters and monographs, over 45 expert book reviews, and 5 guest editorials. The texts that he has authored include pharmaceutical dissolution testing, bioavailability and bioequivalence, drug development process, which is increasing efficiency and cost effectiveness, and he has also co-edited Nanobiomedicine, which has 6 volumes and 91 chapters. Desk Book of Pharmaceutical Dissolution Science and Applications, among others. He is the co-author of an electronic text named as Basic Pharmacokinetics. He is on the roster of experts with WHO, United Nations, Top 10 program, and an International Executive Service Corps. He is listed in World Health Organizations who in biotechnology among Asian Americans and American men and women of science. He is the founding editor-in-chief on editorial boards of several scientific journals. He has received numerous awards for excellence in teaching and his research activity. He has been awarded 2 Service to Country Awards from the United Nations and nomination for the Distinguished Fulbright Scholar Award for Teaching. Thank you.
Thank you, Sneha, for introducing our chief guest. I request Dr. Umesh Banakar, sir, to deliver the speech. Please welcome, sir.
Good morning. Suprabhatam, I guess. So much Sanskrit you heard now. Suprabhatam, okay. Alright, I don't know the Telugu version, okay? Right off the bat. I am very happy to be here. It was an eye-opening experience. For the next 2 hours, I'm going to work with you, and I'm going to work with you on your own floor. Why? Because the best way to learn is when you are among the learners and the learning, and hopefully we'll get learned. Okay. So we'll start with the presentation, but for the background of it, let's see one quick thing I want to ask you. I'm told that there is a wide group of students here, faculty I know very well, fairly well, but it's first year, second year, third year, fourth year, and M.Pharms, PhDs, and PharmDs, correct? All right. So while you are going through this program at Malla Reddy College of Pharmacy, first year, second year, third year, what did you experience about your teachers? This is not a feedback, okay? Did you realize that when professors ask a lot of questions, right? They will ask the question only when they know the answer. Otherwise, they will not ask the question. If they don't know the answer, then it becomes a project for you. So one way or the other, we get the answer. Okay? So that's the format we are going to follow. So I will come to know whether you know your pharmaceutics, whether you know your physical pharmacy. Now you'll be wondering, what has this got to do with IPR? Putting all of these things together, let me ask you the first question. Do you want to become rich? Good. Keep that enthusiasm. Okay. Do you want to become prosperous? Is there a difference between rich and prosperous? Good. What is the difference? The response once I got for this question was very interesting. A young lady, she stood up and she said, well, the mere fact that you said rich and prosperous, there has to be a difference, otherwise you would not have asked this question. So keep this thought in mind, because we are going to look at IPR as a career, and I am going to make sure that we will always be within the healthcare discipline. IPR is IPR. It can be for any discipline. Right? But because all of you are from pharmacy background and or healthcare, so I will keep it to healthcare so that you will feel that, yes, it applies to us as well. Number one. Number two, how many of you liked pharmacy jurisprudence class? That was the subject that you loved the most, right? So, there is this big misunderstanding in the entire country that IPR is everything to do with law. It has nothing to do with law. No jurisprudence. We will talk about law a little bit, but then I will tell you what does it do and what is it supposed to do and what we should know about it. Okay? So it is going to be a interesting session. I hope you enjoy it because it is all relating to your discipline, number one. Number two, the presentation is going to be in a non-threatening way. Okay? Because there is always this undercurrent thought that, oh, this guy has come from US, so we'll talk about hi-fi stuff and then he will leave. Kya farak padta hai? Okay? You will see how much difference it will make. Okay? So it's going to be a non-threatening, number one. It is going to be interactive. I hope you give me answers, which you have already started to, which is good. And those questions will be simple, straightforward questions. And keep always in mind, I'll ask the question only when I know the answer. Okay? All right. The best way to learn any topic or any discipline or any subject is to start with examples. And the examples are going to be, as I said, relating to us. So much so that it will be right in your domain. Okay? So let's start with that. How many of you have heard the word patent? How many of you have liked the word patent? That is a different question. Okay, not now. So you have heard the word patent. How many of you have heard the word copyright? Nowadays there is this big deal about geographical indications in India. Okay. So we are going to have fun on that. All right, let's start with the presentation. It is in two parts. Number one is to look at IPR as a career, okay, which you will not have heard from anywhere in the country. If you would have talked to your friends from other colleges where our campaign is going on, you may have heard it, but otherwise it is not talked about. But it is a very important consideration where if you want to separate yourself, if you want to distinguish yourself from your peer, all of you will get the same degree. The employer will have all of you as your applications. How would you differentiate yourself from your competition? Okay, so that's where this so-called skilling, if you want to call it, or whether this additional expertise that you will get or training that you will get would be very useful. And at the end, I will tie in with why is it a career worth pursuing, and of course the impact on what will be my pay package. Right? That's the first question that you always get. How much will I get per month? Okay. All right. So there was a student from Pharmacy College in Maharashtra who was sitting like this, came to US to do his PhD work. Okay? All of us want to do that. I did that too. Okay? What was his PhD project? His PhD project was pretty straightforward. Anybody who wants to do PhD in pharmaceutics, their first is, oh well, I want to do formulation development. I want to create a formulation, I want to create a product. So that was his idea too, fine. So his project was pain management through a very unique formulation. It may not be a unique one, but particularly through a product that is to be delivered by the mouth or orally administered drug. What was the indication? When you have a fracture, when you have broken bone, when you have post-surgical pain, oncology post-surgical pain, when you reset your bones. Invariably, there is a nerve that is pinched, and even if you reset it, there is always intense pain in the morning when you wake up, and it continues for the entire day, and the thing continues every day. So you need it for life. So his project was to develop a formulation or a product given orally where there is a portion where there will be immediate release of a drug so that the immediate pain would be relieved. And then there will also be in the same form, dosage form or dosage unit, rest of the drug will be delivered over 12 hours. Nothing big. A combination of a sustained release formulation combined with a immediate release formulation. So he was working with what are the painkillers? Intense painkillers, not the typical acetaminophen and aspirin. What are the intense painkillers? Morphine. Okay. So he was dealing with a morphine compound which was oxycodone. Okay. So what he basically did, long story short, was he took the dose, 80% of the dose, he put it into a matrix formulation. All of you know matrix, you love it, I know that. In a matrix formulation, and then overcoated the tablet with the 20% of the remaining dose by a film coat which dissolved rapidly. So when the patient took the tablet, the outer coat released the 20% dose, pain came down. By then the slow release started to work for 12 hours, did the job. Did his formulation development, did his dissolution assessment, did his bioavailability in animals. Then the university also had permission for testing in humans, so he did a bioavailability study in humans, looked at the pharmacokinetic data, dissolution data, all of that, and everything was working out perfectly fine. Submitted his PhD dissertation, got a PhD degree, came back to India, foreign degree. Got a nice job, life was normal. What is the big deal? 2 years later, he gets a courier from his professor. He opened the courier, there was a copy of a patent. That was his PhD project. He was the named inventor, co-inventor was his professor, assignee was the university. Ooh, big time, exclusive rights. Okay. Party time, got promoted. He also got married. I don't know whether marriage was, getting a patent was a prerequisite for a wedding, but he got married too. Life went back to normal. Climax बाकी है. 18 months later or 20 months later, he got another courier from his professor. He opened the courier and then he found a small envelope in which there was a note, congratulatory note saying that, well, congratulations so and so, this is your first royalty check for $51,000. Value of your work. बाकी है अभी, hold on. For next 8 years, 7 to 8 years, he was getting anywhere between $175,000 to $200,000 a year in India as part of his royalty, because he's the exclusive owner, he and the professor, of course, and the assignee is the university, so whatever the agreement was, he was getting that much amount. Just imagine how much the company who commercialized his patent was making, 93% plus. Whew. Interestingly, any research that happens in US where you are dealing with addictive compounds or overcoming addiction, cocaine is, or you are dealing with cancer medication, these are tax-free. So he didn't have to pay tax on it. Wow. So he baked the cake, cooked it too, added the icing on it, and had all of it. I mean, not all of it, at least 7% of it. Value of your work. Okay, value of your work. Now let's turn the tables onto our faculty. Okay. Art Science Commerce College in US is known as a metro college. Okay. Like what we have here, Art Science Commerce Colleges, they are known as metro colleges in US. So there was a metro college, there is a metro college in US, Metro College, which has a chemistry department. And there was a chemistry professor, not medicinal chemistry, not pharmaceutical chemistry, just general chemistry. His interest was in synthesizing compounds. So he synthesized gums. chemical compounds, sticky stuff, the gums. He was one step ahead. Every time he synthesized a new compound, he patented it. So he knew the patenting stuff. So one fine day, in the process over the years, he had 8 patents. One fine day, a guy knocked on his door with a black suit, white shirt, red tie, indicating in US as a power. He knocked on the door and said, I am Mr. So-and-so, a lawyer from a law firm. Are you Professor so-and-so? Professor said, you're a lawyer, then I don't think I should tell you who I am. Then he said, oh, okay, no, I'm here for, I just want to talk to you, so on and so forth. So we loosened his tie. That is another indication that, well, now we are friends, there is nothing formal. So, long story short, across the table, they started to talk to each other. The lawyer started asking him questions, and now listen to the questions, because the last question is going to come to you. He started to ask his question. I said, well, oh, professor, you are good in chemistry, your work is recognized, you have 8 patents. The professor is thinking, why is a lawyer interested in my patent? So, answer. Now, then the first question of the series, he started off with saying that, well, do you know anybody is using your invention? One of the 8 patents is anybody, do you know if anybody is using them? Well, yeah, oh, are they using them? It was good, typical faculty. It is good, wow, whatever I have done, it is helping the world. Okay. Then the second question he asked was, if anybody is using your invention, did they take permission from you? And he said, well, they should, but if they don't, that's okay. It is still in the interest of the general public. The lawyer was like, oh, really? Then the next question he asked was, do you know that if anybody uses your invention without your permission, doesn't matter, you are entitled for compensation? He said, I know that too. But I'll get a few $1,000s here and there in a year, no big deal. Now the fourth question he asked, and it is a question for you. What is that? Can you see that? That is the baggage tag. When you go on an airplane, you check your bag in, you get a baggage tag. Right? This is a baggage tag. It's a little bit bright here, so we don't see it, but this is a baggage tag. Next time when you get a baggage tag, try to rip it, tear it. You will have burns on your fingers, you will have bleeding, but it will not tear. So what you do is you peel it. When you peel it, it doesn't stick to your fingers. It just peels off and then you stick it back. The agent who took your bag and applied the baggage tag also did the same thing. Day in and day out. No sticking to the fingers. That's the gum, which is a patent that is held by the professor. All right, now the question to you. Okay? I think you have the lights on, that's fine. There's an only slide which is colored. Okay? I want to see the faces, Light the light. So the question to you is, number 1. Oh, that's the only question actually. How many baggage tags are applied by all airlines in the world per day? Take a guess. Thousands? Lakhs? Crores? How many? Whenever I ask a question, I know the answer. 17,482,692 plus minus 10%. 17 million, let's round it off to 17 million. Why is it important? For every single baggage tag, he is entitled 3 cents. 3 cents is 2 rupees 70 paise. So let's round it off to 2 rupees. So for every single baggage tag that is applied per day, professor is entitled 34 million rupees. Professor said, oh really? And he said, well, what can we do? The lawyer said, now I will help you. So what did they do? They made first an agreement, typical agreement, that well, if money starts to come in, 40% goes to the law firm, 60% will go to the professor. So 60% of 34, let's round it off to 30 million per day, is 18 million he will get coolly per day. 18 million per day, rupees. Value of your work. So what did they do? Largest airline in the world, American Airlines, was sued for infringement, using somebody else's invention without their permission and making profit. So, first of all, the airlines admitted, yes, we did this. Which basically means not only they have to pay royalties to the inventor, plus they did this much earlier, so they have to pay fines and damages. So they said, oh, let us settle out of court. So it was settled out of court for a multi-million-dollar settlement. Then what happened? They went to the next airline, United Airlines. They sued United Airlines. By then, Federal Aviation Authority of the world got the hang of it that these guys are not going to stop. So one airline, other airline, Air India, Jet Airways, all of them will come one after the other. So they said that, well, let us all get together, all these airlines worldwide, let us get together and ask the professor to sue us. That is known as a class action lawsuit. Please sue us, admitting almost that, well, we are infringing. But we will settle it for once and for all. So, long story short, it was settled for a multi-billion-dollar settlement. The professor said, I think now I can retire. Value of your work, folks, value of your work. Who knows, we may get the next billionaire from Malla Reddy College of Pharmacy for a pharmaceutical product. Or more than one. Okay? Value of your work. Top 25 brands in the world 2022. What is the first one? $355 billion value. Billion. iPhones, Apple Watches, laptops, notepads, notebooks, all this stuff, technical stuff, owned by Apple. Samsung has been, since iPhone 6, Samsung has been trying to get ahead in the game. Every time they were stopped because they were not exactly copying, but they were similar to what Apple had already patented since iPhone 6. But in the process, what happened was, Samsung is the first one who has come out with flip top, which Apple cannot. In spite of them having in their research plan to introduce the flip top iPhone version in 2025, that is scrapped. Now, they can come up with a better one, whatever it is. The value of your work. What is the next one? Amazon. What does Amazon do? Typically, Amazon is like a tapri store on the roadside. When I came here 2 days ago, 3 days ago, I wanted Diet Coke, which is my, so-called people call me, oh, this is Americanization process. So I had to get one. What did I do? .in, right? Or Swiggy. It was delivered in less than 30 minutes. So, इधर का माल ले आओ, उधर का माल ले आओ. Number 2, 325 billion value. Third one is what? Google, again highly technical stuff. I'm not going to go through the whole 25 list, okay? The key part is totally different basis on which value is generated. Okay? Where is India in top 25? Oh, shock. Next to that emoji is the other emoji after the shock subsides. We should do something about it. That's IPR. We have to let it go. Number one is not USA. Number one is China. 11 of top 25 brands are Chinese. Okay. US is only 9. Okay? So don't be under the misunderstanding that, well, oh, US will be number one. TikTok, which is only a few years old, is already in top 25. Value that you build. Okay. Your principal just said that, well, Malla Reddy group of institutions, the objective is to become one of the main sources of Center for Excellence in Education, brand value. Okay. All right, so let's go forward. Let's see what is happening in our neighborhood. I'm not going to talk about cases in US and this and that. I'll talk about India, pharma, healthcare, technology only. High Court in Hyderabad. How close can it be? High Court in Hyderabad stops Natco Pharma. Do we know Natco Pharma? From manufacturing an insecticide which is the patent of which is owned by FMC. This insecticide sells at $6,000 per gallon. Agriculture worldwide. How many liters is equal to 1 gallon? Pharmacy calculations. $3.8. So let's round it off to 4. So $400 per liter. So Natco said that, well, we will change the process a little bit so that we will not be copying it or so-called infringing it. Brought to court, sued in court. High Court said, it is the same, so you cannot do that. India is big in pharma, generics. We are generics of the world. This is very common, where ANDA allowed lets us, anybody, any generic company permitted through Para 4 to submit generic applications. So Johnson & Johnson takes Aurobindo again, man, in the neighborhood. But it's true for other companies also, Indian generics, Zydus and Wockhardt and everybody. Court for a formulation for oncology product, which is owned by J&J. The most alarming or concerning is the last one. 1995, India signed the WTO agreement, World Trade Organization agreement, as well as WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization, which brought us into the so-called product patent or patent regimen. I will not give you the history of it, but since then what it basically means is we became one of the 135 countries in WTO who are members of WTO, where our patents now will be honored by 135 countries at par, and their product patents also will be honored by us in India. Prior to that, India did not recognize product patents. So now we are at par. WTO and WIPO, this is not political, this is basically WTO and WIPO has a think tank and an evaluator group which evaluates the IP situation in all member countries, 135. Okay. The worst category that one can be in is priority watch list for IP violations. Okay, so that's the reason why we need to get into this much more deeper than just talk about it. Okay. All right, let's look at an example. This is very as recent as January 12th to 2023. High Court reserves order on NATCO's plea over a patent for Novartis drug. Okay, this is in Delhi. Background of this. The product is a combination of valsartan and sacubitril. What is valsartan? Cardiovascular drug, right? Sacubitril is also cardiovascular. So it is a combination of two antihypertensive medications, which is common. Okay? Pharmacology, pharmacy guys wake up. Okay? So now what happens is they have a patent in US. It is making millions and millions and billions. So they wanted to have a patent issued in India as well. So Novartis files a patent in Indian Patent Office somewhere in late 2020, early 2021. It was granted on December 14, 2022, roughly 2 years. Okay? Follow this track of thought. The interesting part about this combination drug patent is the original product patent was supposed to expire or is expiring, did expire on 16th January this year. Okay, so 16th January 2023, the original patent expired. So by December and early January, 17 plus generic pharma companies in India were ready to roll their product into the market and commerce. With all their bioequivalences done, CDSCO approvals done, all approvals were clear. Batches were loaded onto the truck. Midnight, January 16th, roll them out. December 14, 2022, everything was done. Because the patent was issued in India, which would expire in 2029. क्या हो गया? Business ठप हो गया. So NATCO was the one who started to think, well, generally it takes about 7 years, 5 to 7 years to get a patent in India. How did these guys got a patent in less than 2 years? Aha! दाल में कुछ काला है. Okay, so what did they do? They filed a writ petition. I read it for those of you who cannot see it there. NATCO filed a writ petition citing procedural irregularities and violations of principles of natural justice by the Assistant Controller of Indian Patent Office. Oh my God. Indian Patent Office itself violated their own rules and regulations. That is an IP violation. What did they do? Very simply, if you want to file an Indian patent and get one, there are 3 steps major. Number 1, you file it, then it is published. That publication is not granting, but publication, then it is open for 4 to 6 months for opposition. Anybody can oppose it, why this should not be granted. After that, then it is set up for review. After it goes to review, then it is granted, whatever happens in between. And after grant, also it is put up for post-grant opposition. Nothing happened here. It went straight, the patent was granted. I will leave it to your judgment, understanding, thinking, dreaming, how this happened, why this happened. was there anything else that played into the picture? Okay. So the judge said, no, this is wrong. It was set aside. And the generics could come in, okay. Right, so it is a patent violation. It is not, I'm not even talking about patentability, whether it is yes, no, technical stuff, nothing. Our own rules we are not following, which is very concerning, and that's why this watch list. Okay, all right, let's go further. This is May 13, 2023, current, High Court, Delhi. India is the only country, for now you take it from me, India is the only country which has laws on what you cannot patent. There are 17 subsections in Indian Patent Act, section 3, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, plus for section 4, 1, subsection D. Boy, that is jurisprudence. All of these tell you that this is what you cannot patent in India. Other countries have policies. All WTO countries worldwide, non-WTO countries worldwide also have policies. Okay? Now these policies are the ones that tell you what can and cannot be patented, but we are perhaps the only country which tells you legally you cannot patent this. Same thing can be patented outside. So we'll talk about that when we'll come to prosecution as part of a domain for IPR. Can you guys hear me? Or I can walk there? Okay. So now the big question is, we are big in IT, we are big in electronics, we are big in AI, so to speak. So, first time Justice Pratibha Singh on May 13th wrote a judgment in this case, Open TV Incorporated versus Controller of Patents Office again. She says directly, our own judge, High Court judge in Delhi, says that, listen to this very carefully, she expressed her concerns at the fact that many inventions may be excluded from being patented because they are in emerging technologies, including there we go.
Not morning show. You enjoy childhood and this morning show is also a nice one. Enjoy this session, right?
So what did she say? So she said basically in that case was section 3K, forget about the section. She said that, well, these sections tell us they are stopping our own researchers and our own research groups or so-called innovators, and they are not able to patent the stuff, which include startups, which include MSMEs and research institutions, which is us, educational institutions. So this is just the beginning. It took 27 years for the country to realize, by one judge, 27 years to realize that, well, we are taking a gun and striking ourselves. In order to abolish any section or subsection of a law, it has to be done by the parliament, And for that, a bill has to be introduced. For that, the bill has to be drafted. For that, there has to be a technical discussion. So now it is up to you to think about how much we have to do in order to get us at par. There is this big push in India about take a patent, get a patent, get a patent, get a patent, and now it is changed to get a patent, make money, get a patent, make money, get a patent, make money. So we need to really analyze whether that is right now possible or we need to understand it. Thank you. All right, so now that is the situation. The next slide was basically talking about, and the last one before we get into the actual material for presentation. The last slide was April 16th or 17th, 2013, where the first time ChatGPT and AI was recognized by the country's parliament or so-called the decision makers that, oh, now we have to start regulating AI tools. After regulations come policies and all the whole stuff to get any law for AI. We struggled with this whole aspect of AI in 2000 to 2005 in US. In Western Europe, we struggled with that. We talk big about continuous manufacturing, we talk big about AI in analytical, we talk big about AI in, well, we will find a new molecule, which we cannot, but we talk about it. You get all these presentations on webinars and people coming in and talking about, see what you can happen, you can see a robot doing this and that. Okay? Now the key part is, do we have an understanding of it? Do we have any regulations? How do we regulate? How do we have policies? Do we have policies? Do we have laws? So on and so forth. If you want to get a patent on an AI-based product, pharma product, today you cannot get a patent in India. For multiple reasons. That is Section K part of it. It is emerging technology. Anything that is emerging technology cannot be patented in India because that technology is not available today. Indian patent law says, of the three requirements, the third requirement, it has to have a use, industrial use. If the industrial technology is not there, then there is no industrial use today. Driverless cars cannot be patented here. The IoTs cannot be patented here. Okay? That opens up our mind as to, well, we should talk, we should walk what we talk. Okay? When we say that take a patent, take a patent, take a patent, do we know what to do? Okay? All right. Now the presentation, which is with this background, I hope you have got a little bit idea as to making $51,000 just like that. Oh, and now at the point where we need to now start thinking about IP, IPR, and now career path. All right, let's start with the letter, the word itself, or the phrase intellectual property rights. The first alphabet is I, not me. I is I. Alphabet I, which is for intellectual. What do you mean by intellectual? What is your understanding of intellectual? Smart? Better than someone? Highly educated? Scientifically advanced? What is intellectual according to you? Let me ask you another basic question. Is intelligence and intellectual the same? Whichever answer you pick, you have to tell me why. 50-50 chance, couldn't be better to get a degree, passing grade. 1 and 1 is equal to 2. How did you know? Were you born, when you were born, you did not cry, but you said 1 and 1 is 2? How did you know 1 and 1 is 2? Because in class 2, when you were there in arithmetic class, 1 apple plus 1 apple, there was a picture of 2 apples. 1 and 1 is 2. Now, will you believe me if I prove to you 1 and 1 is 1? I'm not talking 11. I can prove to you that 1 and 1 equals 1. Will you believe me? Not into and said. I did not say 1 by 1 or 1 of 1. Listen to my words. That is a misreading of the question. 1 and 1, not 1 by 1 or 1 of 1. No, product of 1 of 1. No, 1 and 1 was 2. I will prove to you 1 and 1 is 1. So, oh, really? 1 rupee note and the 1 rupee note equals 1 2 rupee note. One and 1 is equal to 1 is legally correct. Mathematically wrong. Value-wise wrong. I did not ask the value. I did not say what we are counting. I just said 1 and 1 is 1. Legally correct. 1 and 1 is 2 is mathematically correct. Legally not correct. Why? Because algorithms cannot be patented. Man. If a mathematical algorithm which gives you an unexpected result, it can be patented. Not in India, outside. So all of our computer languages are mathematical algorithms. You use your calculator, mathematical algorithm. You can use the same, you can do the same calculation manually. Mathematical algorithm. Okay? Can we get the slides up, or we will do it without slides? Oh, it's getting enough. All right, so the thinking now has to be in terms of, well, what exactly are we talking about? What is intelligence and what is intellectual? When you complete your second year pharmacy, do you go back to first year pharmacy provided you passed second year? You go back? No. After you complete your 4 years of pharmacy degree and 6 years of PharmD, you get graduated, right? You graduate. So there is a convocation ceremony. Convocation speaker has 15 minutes to give you or deliver his or her address, convocation address. 13 of the 15 minutes, the convocation speaker talks about, you guys are great. You 4 years, 6 years, you have toiled. You have completed all requirements. You have passed all the courses. You are now equipped with knowledge. You have now the background. Yeah, sure. You are ready to go into the field. The field is waiting for you. The world is waiting for you. You can contribute a lot. You are like, man, I am God now. Last 2 minutes, the hydrogen bomb is dropped on you, saying that make no mistake, your learning starts now. 4 years and 6 years, what did I do? One and 1 is equal to 2 is a learning. When you graduate, you only become intelligent, you do not become intellectual. When you apply your knowledge, then you have intellectual. The student applied biopharmaceutical knowledge, the student applied physical pharmacy knowledge, the student applied pharmacokinetics knowledge, formulation knowledge, whatever analytical knowledge, and came up with this formulation, which did a job what was expected to do. That is intellectual. Second important outcome is whenever you apply your intelligence, you are creating something. You buy a piece of land and you have layout of your house, you build the house. That is application of civil engineering, whatever is required to build the house, the product. You have created a house for which you want to get an exclusive right. So that is number one. First is, now I have a property with me. Whenever I apply intelligence, I create, and that creation is intellectual property. Whether it will give you an exclusive right is the next question. For the creation, I built this house, I then file a lot of papers with all the government agencies, and ultimately you get a certificate for occupancy, which says the house is exclusively yours. That is IPR. Rights on the property that was generated by intellectual base, which was starting point was your intelligence. So that is the track. Okay? So now, IP refers to creations of the mind, meaning applications of your intelligence. Creations of the mind, there are various types of it. Patent, trademark, copyright, service mark, trade secrets, geographical indications, all of those you know by name. Do we understand them? There is a white canvas. On that I take a paintbrush, I apply yellow paint, blue paint, purple, indigo, black, all the colors, and underneath I sign M.F. Hussain. That picture or that picture, actually paint, sells at 5 crores. If I do that, I'll not even get 5 rupees. Why? Copyrighted. We submit a manuscript for publication to the publisher. Publisher gets it through the review process, whatever you do. Ultimately, you get a letter saying that, well, your manuscript is accepted for publication, party time, party time, party time. Little do you know that next, in that same envelope, there is a second page. It says, please sign this document. That is you sign over the copyrights of that publication to the publisher. I have 11 books I have written. I don't own any single one of them. I do get royalties because it is owned by the publisher. Okay. Another form of IPR. Geographical indication, rice that is grown at the foothills of the Himalayas is basmati. Same rice is grown in Texas in US. Could not get basmati, they got taxmati. Honestly, this is not joke. They got the geographical indication for taxmati. Okay. Key is value. Last month, Goa got 4 geographical indications: cashew, cashew feni, pungent drink. Okay. Then we have Nicha, which is one of their favorite dessert, and for one more. So you can get recognition. Now the key question that I'm going to ask you is, remember, you want to be rich. Which of these copyrights has tangible benefits, measurable benefits? Do you know Sabyasachi? Oh yeah, you know them very well. Sabyasachi designs a lehenga and copyrights that. They can manufacture only 49. 50th item they manufacture of the same design, it is production, they will lose copyrights. So now these 49, Sherwani with one side longer than the other, I don't know why that is so popular, sells for 2.5 crores. Oh, Shah Rukh Khan can get it, I can, you can probably. 49 of them. No wonder these Hollywood starlets, they will say, I didn't see that worn again. Only 49. Value. So the tangible value, measurable value, returns, so to speak, are on patents. That too product patents. That's the reason why we are concentrating on patents. Even the country is concentrating on patents. Road to sustainable prosperity, all top 25, is they are protecting their inventions through patents and commercializing them. So if we as a country have a thrust area, thrust areas, not more, not one, where we then become those thrust areas where we have innovation, continuous and incremental all the time, we can reach that stage, provided we have the right things that to set in motion. Okay. So that's the reason why we are going to concentrate on patents. Otherwise, there are other IPRs too. Okay. All right. Going forward, 1967, World Intellectual Property Organization has provided a list of 176 items that can have protection through intellectual property rights. Scientific discoveries and scientific works are listed in them. So that is what we do day in and day out. Okay? Can you, I teach medical school also, not IPR, but I teach medical school as well. So in the interest of IP in medical school or medical field, I asked them a question. Can you guys read your own prescription when you write one? They are very smart. They say, I don't have to read it, the pharmacist has to read it. I said, okay, but the pharmacist cannot read it, the nurse cannot read it, so what do we do? I said, well, next time when you write a prescription, sign your name underneath it. They are smart there too. He said, why do I have to sign my name? It is on my letterhead, my license number is there, so I don't have to sign. I said, you know what? If you sign it, you can actually take a copyright for abstract art. Neither you can read it nor anybody can read it, so it can be considered as an art, abstract art. Okay? You can at least get 500 rupees for every prescription. Value of your IPR. Okay? All right. So, patent. What is a patent? We are going to concentrate on patent. Now, listen to this very carefully. This is the legal definition in US. Legal definition in India I'm not going to put up because I'll just tell you a couple of differences. You'll get an idea why our laws are so difficult to decipher and understand. All right, now this is the definition. It says an official document. Official document is a legal document. An official document granting a right or privilege to the inventor for a term of years, that is 20 years from the date of filing, the only right to make, use or sell his or her invention. What is difficult in this? Nothing. Says, well, if you are the inventor, if you create something, and if you get a patent, which is an official document, you have the exclusive right, you have the only right to make, use or sell whatever you have invented, which is your invention. Of the many discrepancies in Indian patent law, also there is a definition for patent. I'll just give you two items and then you'll come to know why it is becoming so complicated. The word inventor is replaced in Indian patent law by the word patentee. So, a patentee can be anyone which includes inventor. In US patent law, an inventor cannot be a patentee as such. Okay? He can be labeled as a patentee because that is a subgroup. How do we understand that? You complete your work, write a manuscript, send it to the publisher. Your authors list has also the name of the department chair who has not contributed to the project, but it has gone through my department, so my name has to be there. So that is the difference between a patentee and an inventor. Okay. Number two, only right is exclusive. The word only right does not appear in Indian patent law. It only says exclusive right, and then it redefines exclusive right as the only right. So both terms are mentioned. What is the importance? Whenever there is a law, there are two terms which may mean the same, but if they are mentioned in a statement, that means they have different meanings. Okay, let's leave it at that today. So we are supposed to be at par with this definition because we are WTO members. All right, now the question to you, when you read this, what is the prerequisite for getting a patent? In this definition, what is the prerequisite? What is required to get a patent? Invention, that is correct. Without this, you cannot have a patent. The invention has an inventor, the official document, all of that for this invention. Do we know what is an invention? This is building your career now. This law is for any IPR patented in connection with patent, whether it is IT, engineering, fashion design, agricultural product, pharma product, medical device, anything. So do we know what is an invention? Something new. Anything else? New process. Who tells you you have an invention? Do we know that we have an invention when we complete a project? Or somebody has to tell you that? There is no publication about it. That is novelty, that is requirement. Who tells you you have an invention? So first we need to know what is an invention. We'll come to that point in a minute, but just to give you these inventions and their values. Do we know omeprazole? Omeprazole, you require an entry-coated formulation. Prilosec is number one. AstraZeneca, look at its value. It is a basic entry-coated formulation. Bupropion hydrochloride, what is it used for? Smoking cessation, pharmacology guys, wake up. Satoskar coming back to life. Goodman-Gilman coming back to life. Okay. All right, so Wellbutrin is sustained release bupropion hydrochloride from Glaxo, simple HPMC matrix formulation, releasing the drug slowly over a period of time through the swollen matrix. Makes almost 1.5 billion. The more recent one, ulcerative colitis, what is the first line of treatment? Mesalamine. Lialda, now it is Takeda's product. It basically is a sustained extended release. What it does is really, it does not release through the entire GI tract. Only when it enters the colon, it opens up and it releases over the ascending transverse and descending parts of the colon over a period of time. So it is delayed, also called extended, sustained release in the colon. Man, over a billion. For every one of those, we have Indian generics. Why can't we be this one? That's the question we should ask. What can be patented? Any method, any machine, any article of manufacture, composition of matter, new use, article of manufacture, that can, and certain plants can be patented. Pretty straightforward, no big deal. Whatever you do has the potential to be patented, provided it is an invention. Okay, I'm not lost that thought. Important part is what cannot be patented. I have a dream yesterday, cannot be patented. I have a young lady who called me the other day and she said that, well, Professor, can you help me patent an idea? And before I was saying anything, she told me what she was going to do. I said, okay. She said, well, Corona is going to be a lifestyle now because it is going to be here forever. Because we had COVID-19, then Alpha, Beta, Delta, Omicron, Tosticron, Puntricon, whatever it was. Either all the strains are coming. So masks are going to be with us for life. So I have an idea. I said, okay. Men go to work by shaving and putting afterward shave, so on and so forth. Women go to work by putting on makeup. So she said, I have a paste where you can just apply. You can have that paste which will function as a mask. Plus you can have that color which matches your complexion, so you don't even see the difference. You can have Mickey on one side, Minnie on the other side, Tapasi Mandu on one side, Ayushman Khurrana on the other side. And all sorts of stuff. Come back from work, peel it off. Gone, finished. So I said, well, that's great. Do you have it in your hand? She said, no, it is my idea. Cannot be patented. Chemistry guys, let's see if they are awake. How many bonds does carbon have? How many bonds does hydrogen have? Can 6 hydrogens and 6 carbons stay together as a family unit? Stable compound. Can we get a stable compound with 6 carbons and 6 hydrogens? How? Yeah. Kekule was the guy who said that, well, he had synthesized the compound where on analysis 6 carbon and 6 hydrogens were living together, no problem, stable compound. He repeated the experiment 7 times and still it was pretty stable. He said, my God, this cannot happen. All his calculations on bond strength and bond, all those things did not work. After about 9 or 10 months, he got a dream saying that, well, the only way that can happen is if there is an hexagon where 6 carbons are put together and the spokes are the hydrogens, and then the internal double bonds are only 3 remaining. They resonate. That's how the entire aromatic chemistry came into picture. Could not patent it. Idea, dream. Okay? Purely mathematical algorithms. If you do it by a calculator, if you do it manually, Cray computer, fastest computers in the world, cannot be patented because you are doing something, writing a program to get an expected result. So there is nothing new there, except it is faster, so what? Okay. Mathematical algorithms giving an unexpected result, 1 and 1 is equal to 1, is patentable, not in India. All computer programs are copyrighted, not patentable, because you feed the information in, you are expecting the outcome and it comes out the same. No big deal, there is no novelty. Okay. Scientific principles, naturally occurring things. Poor guy, Newton was sitting under an apple tree. I don't know why our history and mythology is all with apples. Adam and Eve also, they went and found an apple. He was sitting under an apple tree, then apple fell down and hit his head. That's how gravity came. He discovered gravity. If the apple from ground went to the top, that would be patentable, anti-gravity. Is there any technology that is anti-gravity? Anything that goes against gravity? Chandrayaan, how did it enter? Anti-gravity. All aviation industry is anti-gravity. Pardon? Commercial airlines, majority of the patents are held by Boeing. Second is Lockheed in Europe, Boeing is US. Third is Embraer in Brazil. Indigo is going to buy 370 aircrafts. Pay through your nose because it is expensive because of patented material. Air India is buying 400 of those. Same thing, same story. HAL has 2 patents on military aircrafts, which they are trying to now sell it or whatever, license it to other smaller countries in Southeast Asia. Again, value. Right? Arrangements on printed matter can be copyrighted but not patented. Human beings cannot be patented. Oh, damn. Test tube babies, not patentable. IVF results, not patentable. Statistically, it is shown that in the 90 billion population in the world, there are 6 of you the same. Literally, they will be the same. Only in Bollywood movies, they will come and sit next to you. Cannot be patented. Any technology that is destructive cannot be patented. Now you tell me, very important thing for India. Atomic energy or atomic technology in India cannot be patented blankly. That's it. Chandrayaan left the stratosphere, then it went into space where there is no gravity, and now it has entered the gravity of moon. How did it cross the space where there is no gravity? It had to be boosted. How did it do that? Nuclear fission. Where is the problem? The destruction. Pharma, healthcare, radiation technology, radiation in oncology treatment cannot be patented in India. Hydroelectric power dams which generate electricity, nuclear technology is used there. Okay, we are back in business. So nuclear technology or atomic energy based research is not patentable in India, even if it is for peaceful purpose. Even if it is for peaceful purpose. In addition to that, if you want to patent it outside India, you have to take permission from Government of India. When you take permission from Government of India, in 30 days you will get one of the two letters. One is a standard format letter which is in the interest of national security. We are not permitting you to continue with this. I don't understand for oncology treatment what is the national security problem there. Other form of letter you will get is, well, they will send a check for 10,000 rupees saying that, well, this is your reward for your efforts, but stop the project. They'll give you some money. So anyways, that's the story. So anything that is related to atomic energy, not patentable in India according to section 4D, subsection 1. Okay, forget about the section, but that is what it is today. All right, so now the question is, what is an invention? Now we know what can be patented, what cannot be patented. First, we should know what is an invention. Okay. For an invention, you have to realize that if I want to get a patent which was similar to Prilosec, let's see if this works now. Good. All right, let's get back on track. Hopefully we'll not have any more interruptions. So now you know what can and what cannot be patented. So this is the WTO. We became a member of it in December 1995. So our laws were amended in 2005 as per the agreement. So now we are at par, okay, at least on paper. Question is, what is the role of scientists? That is us. Now it comes straight to us. What is the role of scientists? So what we did was, we did a small exercise. 1,600 scientists across India, we asked them a few questions. The main question that we asked was, what is your understanding of IPR? These were the responses. I like the fourth category, which is very good. The fourth group of people, of scientists who responded was no clue. Majority of them said it is law and lawyer stuff. Settle down, guys. It is law or lawyer stuff. Let's see whether it is. Okay. First of all, who generates IP? Scientists or lawyers or agents or examiners? They don't generate IP. The only one category that generates IP is us. You should feel pretty proud of it. Because without you, these guys will not have a job. Okay. If you do not generate a formulation, if you do not generate a new experiment, if you do not generate a new product, if you do not generate a new way of evaluating mechanism of action, if you do not generate a new combination, these guys will not have a job. IP generated by us. In any field, a new transformer, a new car, a new system. Okay. Scientists do not know law and lawyers don't know science. IPR sits right in the middle. You generate IP, so you have a product, which is, remember, your IP is creation of the mind. You have created a product. Now that has to be granted a patent. For that there are laws which has to be follow when in your application. So that's where we take the help of these individual agents and so on and so forth. Once a patent is given to you, the other end of the domain is somebody challenges it. You have to protect it 20 years. You want to stop your competition from copying it. How do you do that? Again, you have to fight in court with law, not just because I say so, it is my product and that cannot work. So we need these lawyers and expert witnesses and all these people who will help us get to the end, either get a patent or protect it, or even when you do something once you got the patent. So I tell these patent lawyers that well, they are nothing but glorified postmen. Glorified postmen. When you want a railway ticket, what do? You go to an agent. Agent will give you the ticket. It will save you going yourself. When you file your application in the whatever the legal system is required to get you the occupancy certificate of your house, newly built house, you engage an agent. For setting up a pharma company, you require 71 licenses. Are you going to go to 71 places? No, you engage an agent. Okay. So that's what these folks do for us at very high cost. Patent agents, they charge 60,000 rupees to file your application and get it through. IP law firms in India charge 1.2 to 1.7 lakhs. What do? We will come to that in a few minutes, which is exactly what you do. So that can become a career in itself, and we'll talk about that at the end. All right, so now it is very clear that IP and IPR and law are totally different. Do not make that mistake that it is all law, and law. Okay? Without you, they will not have a job. What is an invention? This is one of the most critical slides that you will need to know in order to know what is an invention. Starting point of getting a patent. When you do a project, all masters, MPharms, they need a project, correct? All PhDs need a project. How do you pick a project? Because your professor said so? How did the professor pick the project? Oh, I'm interested in it. Yes, what is that interest? First, you identify the problem, correct? Your entire dissertation and PhD dissertation or your MA master's thesis has one section which says statement of the problem. Statement of the problem discloses that, well, reviewing the literature, you found that there was lacuna of information. There was this was not done. There were failures. This question is not yet answered, and that's why that is your objective of your project. All of that is done here as the first part of research. What do you do then? Once you identify the problem, then you start to solve it by do what is known as design of experiments, DOE, research methodology. Then you conduct the experiments, collect data, analyze data, and get the results. That is your conclusion. So the student did that, got his PhD, came to India. Research was over. First step. Now I'm going to ask you to do one extra step. Go back into the literature, not to do more work on the project. Project is done and over with. Now you do a second search. This is different than this research. Research, second search. What is that for? Second search is, as of date, get into the literature and check what is available in public domain related to your project, not your project itself. Related to your project. Let's say your project had a particular polymer, a particular process, a particular drug, a particular endpoint, a particular formulation process. So go into the literature and find all the public domain, in public domain, that information relating to your project. Before today, it is prior art. In Indian patent system, it is known as information disclosed. Okay? So let's say in my first research, I got 25 conclusions. In the second search, I got 50 pieces of 50 pieces of prior art. Okay. 50 pieces of prior art are there, information disclosed in the literature. I have 25 conclusions. Now I have to analyze these. That is known as prior art search and analysis, or what we have to provide in Indian Patent Office as an information disclosure statement. What is that analysis? Take every single conclusion. First conclusion, check in these 50 pieces of prior art, it is there. Yes or no? It is there, okay, set it aside. Second, there, set it aside. Third, there, set it aside. Fourth, there, set it aside. Fifth, it is not there at all. Keep it on one side. So in that process, let's say you came up with 5 conclusions of those 25 which were not reported in these 50 pieces of prior art. All those combined is your invention. Was it difficult? Did you have heartburn or ulcer? Did you have tension? Did you have hypertension? No, this is exactly what an agent does for you. Okay? So now you take those 5 conclusions which were not present in the prior art of the 25, make one single sentence. In that one single sentence, you have 5 conclusions. They are now legally known as elements of that sentence. Those elements of that sentence plus that sentence as a whole is evaluated against the legal requirements for you to get a patent granted to you. Okay? That's all it is. That's all it is. The legal requirements now supposed to be, or eligibility requirements, what we call it as, are expected to be at par in all 35 WTO countries. Surprise, surprise, surprise. We'll check them in a couple of minutes, whether they are the same. Okay? So a guy like you, a research scientist in China, had to leave his house at 6:30 in the morning, take a bus, travel in the bus for about half an hour to the railway station, take a train for another half an hour or 45 minutes, and then he reached his research lab station. Okay? The research lab is air conditioned, not his house and not the travel. His only requirement, desire is to have his fruit during lunch to be fresh. Not a big thing that I want Saravana Bhavan Italy, no. I want my fruit to be fresh. So he started in the morning and he put his banana in a backpack. Bus is crowded, it started to kind of get mushy. Then train station, got into a train, not air conditioned, sweaty, hot stuff, humidity. Went to the lab, air conditioned lab, 12:30, opened his lunch. His banana was a banana shake. Totally messed up. So he said, well, this is a problem that he had to solve. Identified the problem. What did he do? He went to Tupperware. Oh my God. Of all the places, he went to Tupperware, and you know that Tupperware containers have a lid, and when they close the lid, it is airtight. So when you open it, somebody's smelling pretty good, even after 2 days. Right? So that's what he did. He said to Tupperware, fabricate for me a container which is shaped like a banana. Holder, holder should hold the banana, top should be the cover, that is lid. And then what you can't see is there are holes in it, so that when I close it, it will be a hard container. The banana will breathe without getting mushy. Got a patent on it. Oh my God. No rocket science required. There is nothing mystery about it. Okay? The guy in Germany said that, well, in Germany we have straight bananas, not curved bananas. Now the important learning here, is a straight line different than a curve? What is the equation of a straight line? Y equals mx plus b. What is the equation for a curve? Entire pharmacokinetics is on that. You better know that. When the blood levels go down in a curve, how do you linearize it? One compartment, two compartment. Guys, this is what you do. Cp equals A times e raised to negative k1 times t plus minus b times e raised to negative k1 k2 times t. This is pharmacokinetics class B, which we hated. That is a curve. So curve has a different equation than the straight line, so that is known as claim differentiation. So straight line cannot be a curve cannot be a straight line. He got a patent on a straight container. The guy in the US said, we get bananas from 4 sources within US, from Mexico, from Haiti, and from three other countries, where they are short, small, long, curved, whatever. So he went to straw technology. Remember when you sip the straw bends and comes straight because there is a hinge in it. So he put this hinge together, and he had the same container, which elongated for long banana, short banana, straight banana, curved banana. Got another patent on that. Guy in Japan said, man, these guys are obsessed with bananas. I don't even like bananas. But I want my orange to be fresh, my pomegranate to be fresh, my mango to be fresh, every fruit to be fresh. That's how the whole business of Fruit Guard came. Value. Let's talk about value. These are nice stories, but let's talk about value. This is where a typical situation in academic institutions is you get patents, you get patents, you get patents. Now let's look at value. Right? So, only in Southeast Asia in summer, these Fruit Guards sell, or market value is $40 million per week. Rocket science, right? Yeah, sure. Okay. So what is involved in entire IPR? Let's get to the bottom part of this whole thing. What exactly is IPR? What is involved? First is to get a patent, prosecution. 2 is to preserve it, 20 years, what do you do with it? 3 is protection. If you have somebody challenges it, you can challenge someone. Indian pharma is notorious for genericization. Why are they sued in US all the time? I have represented Indian companies in US courts because they are sued for infringement. Generic products are always sued. J&J that we talked about in the earlier slide takes Aurobindo to court for infringement, protection. So we want to prove as generic that we are not infringing. The patent holder has to prove that you are infringing. Okay. So we'll talk about that a little bit later, but these are the 3 main areas or domains in IPR. Who is involved? These are all the entities that are involved, the size of the font is not by glitch of computer but by choice. The maximum contribution is by scientists, IP generators, not the lawyers. Okay, all right, now let's pick up speed here a little bit. So the domain of IPR, total domain of IPR for any IPR is not just pharma. For you to be a little bit enthusiastic about it, so I'm only connecting it to healthcare and pharma. Prosecution, preservation, and protection. Okay. What is others? Incremental innovation. Why is Apple consistently ahead in the game? Incremental innovation, iPhone 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, now 14. Consistently, they are ahead in the game. DRL has that in mind. Incremental innovation. Number 2, commercialization. Start making money. Settle down, guys. Okay. Third is policies and procedures. India as a country is 76 years old now. What is the economic base of India? Do you know? What drives Indian economy? Don't say IT, it does not. India is still agriculture-based economy. This is not criticism, this is fact. There is not a single policy on IP in agriculture sector today in India. When Monsanto gets a patent on fertilizer, we jump around and say, oh, this is all nothing but nitrogen releasing compound. Why can't we do it? We should. They are agriculture based. Insecticide, NATCO. Japan needs sustained release fertilizers for their lawns in golf course because they want 12 months green golf courses. So they want a technology which is sustained release for fertilizers over 12 months, all seasons. Why can't we do that and patent it? Okay, that's the spirit that we should get into. IP data, IP intelligence, getting to know what is our competition doing, competitive intelligence just to be ahead. Okay, that's prosperity, so-called. Question, who can best do the job in all these three categories individually? Knowing that we are the IP generators. If we are the ones who can best do the job in prosecution, preservation, and protection, then we have a career. Not only in pharma, but you can be in any field. Okay? So let's start with prosecution. We already talked about it a little bit. What are we looking for? We are looking for translating research into invention, which we did that. So research, and invention, we did that. Then we want to translate the findings into an invention or a claim. We did that as well. Single sentence with 5 conclusions. All did it. So if somebody comes to you and says that, well, can you check if there is an invention in my project? Of course you can now. And you will charge a fee. That is a career path. Patent agents do 60,000 rupees, they do that for you. Okay? We charge anywhere between $350 to $500 per hour to do that for you, which you can do it yourself. Okay. All right, so now this is the important part, talking about at par with other countries. Once you file a patent in India, after invention has been realized, that single sentence is going to be evaluated for only 2 requirements. Whether there is novelty or whether there is non-obviousness. What it is, not today. An invention to be patentable in India should be novel, and there has to be an inventive step which is considered as not obvious. Let's talk about other countries in WTO. 7 requirements, of which the first and the fourth one are in India, the other ones are not. Think about it a little more ahead in the game right now. If I have a patent which is granted to me only on 2 requirements versus the same patent is granted to me on 7 requirements, which one will be stronger? Number 2, which one will be easily invalidated or challenged? The one with only 2, because I can challenge the same patent saying that, well, on the other 5 counts, I can prove invalidity. Okay? So that's a little bit idea about in prosecution. Again, the question is, who will be able to answer these questions? That is again the big question. All projects may not lead to a grant of a patent. However, all patents which are product patents start with a project. This is all you do. So my challenge to you is every single project that you complete, you should get it assessed for invention and potential patentability. That is the way we should proceed. Who can identify IP and translate into IPR? A scientist, not a lawyer, because we did that today right now. Process is an 8-step process. We don't need to go through there, but we talked about prior art search and analysis, information disclosure statement. Key question is who can best do the job in explaining to the examiner or a patent office clear, convincing, and compelling evidence why this patent should be granted. Not the lawyer, it is the scientist. So in prosecution, you are the king. Okay, first step. Let's go over the second one. So you got a patent. Second domain, what do you do with it? This is what is happening in India today. What it says, which is a little bit computer glitch there, the top one are saying, patent le lo, paisa banao, patent le lo, paisa banao, in Telugu. The bottom one is saying, kaisa banao, how to do that. That is one aspect. ARM Technologies is a company in Bangalore. It is a UK-based company. Research site center number 1 is in Bangalore, second one is in Korea, third one is in San Francisco. What do? They only do IP. In microchips, they have 8,500 plus patents. Not a single product on the market. Still, they are $300 million company going IPO. What is the big deal in their patents? 97% of every single cell phone, not iPhone, any cell phone, Oppo, Tipo, Lipo, whatever, okay? Android, Samsung, Nokia, microchip is ARM. Washers, dryers, microwaves, your analytical instruments, your cars, when you turn them on, it says, there is a scanner which goes and says, that comes and says, oh, your engine is okay, you can start. That is, microchip is there. ARM technology. Companies line up with ARM when their patent is issued or granted to them because they want the first license and they make tidy money. All right, now let's come to pharma. In India, what is the first line of treatment in type 2 diabetes? Oral. What is it? PharmDs, come on, wake up. Pharmacology, therapeutics. What is the first line of treatment in type 2 diabetes? Oral. All right, good. So metformin on chronic use, what happens? It becomes tolerant, the patient becomes tolerant, so you adjust the dose or you combine it with sulfonamides, glipizide, glyburide, glibenclamide, correct? Dose of metformin is 500, 800, 1000, 1000, 200 milligrams, which is put in a sustained release formulation. Sulfonamides, glyburide, glibenclamide, all of these are very small doses, less than half a milligram, which are to be delivered as IR, immediate release portion. So what do? You can overcoat it. Known technology. So honest to God, we were walking in a sweet meat mart. Talk about identifying a problem and solving it. Do you know peda? When you look at pedas, there are certain pedas which have a raisin on the top, cashew on the top, pista on the top. Correct? So we said, well, why don't you consider the peda as the metformin large dose sustained release matrix, and we will impregnate glyburide, glibenclamide on it as a bead. When the patient takes this combination, the bead pops out, immediate release, it releases rapidly, you have sustained release. Platform technology. According to section 3D, we cannot file it in India, we filed it in US. You got a patent on that. Companies whoever were looking at fixed dose combinations with large dose and a small dose came to us that, well, can you do that for us? Of course, for a big fee. Ultimately, this patent was sold for $50 million. You guys did the work. There's a master's project, MPharm project. Okay? Preservation, what do? One is commercialization, one is licensing, the other one is platform technology. Okay, so you can do a lot of stuff. The key question is, in that process, what is the role of scientists? Taking the invention to market, then taking it to commerce. Let's see what is involved. You had the work done, you created IP, you have an invention, you got a patent. What was the size of your formulation batch when you got a patent? Take a guess. 100 tablets, 100 capsules is enough. Should it be stable? Not required. Should it be clinically effective? Not required. You are testing a technology. So for getting a patent, you only need a prototype. Why are nanotechnology-based pharmacognosy projects failing, getting patents, but not getting to a next stage of so-called to the market or scaling it up? What do you do in pharmacognosy? You find a plant, you take the part of the plant, you dry it, and then extract the constituents, and then purify them, and and make up a certain percentage of that particular ingredient in a so-called decoction. Then you load it up or combine it with a silver nano-based particle or a gold nano-based particle. Then that is your formulation, and you do your analysis against various cell lines. Oh, this is good for oncology. Oh, this is good for diabetes. Oh, this is good for that. Oh, this is good for that. Get your MPharm or PhD, get a patent, and then what? Now you want to convert. As a matter of fact, I will bet you in your last two conclusions, you will have stated that, well, this product has a lot of potential for this treatment for so many million patients. It can be commercialized. Why don't we? Okay. Why? Because that formulation on which you got a patent is on a prototype which is of a very small batch size. Now you have to scale it up, plus so on and so forth. I'll give you a very quick example. Shipra Kitchen. Shipra has a culinary program. She is going to prepare Keshri Shira 100 grams with 5 elements. That is your formulation. So, which requires that suji, this, that. One of the element is you have to heat this composition at 400 degrees centigrade for 5 minutes. It will be brown and it will smell good. That was a 100-gram batch. Now from there you have to make a 100-kilogram batch for submission to FDA for getting approval. It has to have the same requirement. The element of 100 kilo of that suji has to be heated at 400 degrees and it should turn brown in less than 7 minutes. That is your claim. 100 kilos versus 100 grams, it will not work. You have failed the requirement, so your product is out of the patent. Anybody can copy it, even if you commercialize it. Other side of it is, even if it is able to, do you have the means and the equipment, means and measures? Can you make a 100-kilo batch in the lab? No. So do you know Shark Tank? So you go and present your work and say this has so much commercial value, blah, blah, blah. You do all those acrobatics and then they are impressed. First question they ask is, do you have a patent on it? You say yes. Then the next question they ask is, well, what is your plan for taking it to the market? For that you ask for 10 crores. Today, on an average, you require 7 to 10 crores for just getting your invention or a patented product to market authorization. You are not making money. Market authorization is your FDA approval. Very simple. Once you get market authorization, then you go to commerce. Where is your patient? Where is your hospital? Where is your pharmacy group? Where is your insurance? Where is the nurseries where the product is going to be presented and sold? So that requires advertising, that requires package insert leaflet, that requires the colorful packaging, all of that. That is copyrights. You can get copyrights on that. So now the key question is, when you go through this, there is first step is startup, second step is entrepreneurship. In India, there is this big deal about startup. 85% to 90% of startups fail in the world as well as in India. Why? Because this transformation is all technical based. Question is, who will be able to understand that? So making a long story short, when you take your invention or so-called patent to market and to commerce, you have to realize that, well, your invention from patent to market is all termed as sexily as tech transfer. People talk about, oh, what are you doing? I'm doing tech transfer. Scaling it up. People have made careers in tech transfer. Key is, when you are doing this, when it goes to the market and to commerce, you have to ask the question, is it covered by the claim? 100 kilograms cannot be heated and meet the claim requirement of 5 to 7 minutes. If that happens, then you have lost the control or lost your IPR. Product is out of your claim. Who can tell that? Again, it is only you. So who can best do the job taking the invention to market and to commerce? Again, it is the scientist. So you are king in domain 2 as well. Let's go for the last domain. Protecting IPR. Before starting that, I'm going to ask you one question. Why is Indian pharma generics so excited about genericization? Why do you think we want to concentrate and tell the world that yes, we are big in generics, that's okay, telling the world is fine, but we want to continue that as our emphasis? Why? I give it to you, well, you have the technical expertise, it's fine, but that cannot be a strategy for the country that we should be recognized as the generics of the world. Why does US, UK, Canada, all these countries, they don't say that they are generics of the world. They say they are the inventors of the world. Doing the same thing. Novartis, which is an inventor-based company, they had to set up a generic wing, which is Sandoz. All that genericization is done by their subsidiary. But we are only in generics. Why? Again, now no criticism. We are in generics because only when somebody is successful, they are making millions and millions, I want a piece of that action. The patent is already available. I can look at the procedure. I can copy that and show that, well, I am different from that to prove non-infringement. Or I will outright challenge the patent and say, well, the patent is invalid to begin with, so there is no competition. You cannot sue us. So that's the route we have taken. Right or wrong, appropriate or not, sustainable prosperity or not, those are different questions. Okay. So the two protections that we are essentially looking for, there are about 6, but 2 main ones is one, if somebody challenges us, or if we want to challenge someone. Okay. Imagine a scenario where, remember we started with, we want to make money. There are outfits in the world who are not interested in your technology, who are don't even know your technology. But they know that you have a product on the market which is making millions. I want a piece of the action. So what will I do? I will take a look at what patent is covering your product. I will read the patent and I will say, well, this claim is, I can prove it to be invalid. I will challenge you in court. When I challenge you in court, it is all public domain information. So as it starts to go ahead in the challenge, you are getting a little bit antsy because I know that it is my patent is valid. But this challenger has got an expert who is saying that on these grounds I can prove it is invalid. Your image is going down. Your competition is saying that, well, oh yeah, there is a potential possibility that your patent is invalid. So what will you do? You will come to me and I say that, well, let us settle. If you are making 50 crores per month, I will say, well, I will settle for 30 crores. I coolly make 30 crores. This has happened. This is not figment of imagination. But the key question is, if I want to prove that your patent is invalid, and if you want to prove that it is valid, who is going to do that? In front of the judge, because it is now a dispute. First individual, mark my word, the first individual that gets deposed to testify in court is the scientist. If you are the inventor, you are the one. If you are the challenger, you are the one. Second one is the expert witness, because you cannot defend your own product. It is conflict of interest. So again, it is you. You have to prove technically that it is valid if you own the patent. I have to prove technically that it is not valid. If you are suing me for infringement, I have to prove that no, I am not infringing, again technical. You have to prove that I am infringing all 5 elements of that claim, again technical. Okay. 76 cases so far, expert witnesses have done the work. I have invalidated 4 US patents in US, not an easy job. Okay. All right, so let's talk about this, little bit, 2 minutes on this. What is validity? Validity is very simple. It is unless otherwise somebody challenges you, you are considered valid. You got a degree, right? You get a certificate. Till anybody comes and says that your degree is fuzzy, you are okay. No problem. Till somebody challenges your degree, it is considered as valid for 20 years in case of a patent. So actually your headache starts when you get a patent, because you never know who will challenge it tomorrow. And number 2 is, the moment you start to make money, it will be in the eyes of your competition. They will start to want to have a piece of action. Okay? So much so that the basis on which you got a patent are the basis on which it will be challenged. Why? Because in Indian patent, your expert or your inventor will say that, well, it is novel according to me. The challenger, I will say it is not novel according to me. Okay? You will say it is not obvious, I will say it is obvious. The judge has to decide. Okay? The only way the judge can make a decision is on hearing the experts as well as the fact witness, which is you. All technical, absolutely technical. Protection cannot be resting more squarely on your shoulders as the scientist. So, let's talk about infringement. What is infringement? Infringement is defined as failure to obey a treaty or a law. And secondly, there has to be a willful act. You are willingly and knowingly doing it. Third is, you have some gain in it. Okay? You are ready to go for a party, you are dressed up, your girlfriend is at the back of your mobile. You are almost crossing a red light. The signal changes from orange to red. What do? Knowing that red light, crossing a red light or jumping a red light is illegal. Willing. Number 2, knowingly you are doing it. Number 2 is you are disobeying the law. And number 3, you are gaining time. Why are Indian generic companies being sued in US or other countries for infringement? When you file an ANDA, you are willingly saying that I am going to copy your product. I have to file para 4 certification letter to the inventor. I have to write to them that, well, I'm asking your permission. No, I'm telling you that I'm filing an ANDA. Number 2, on these basis, I am able to prove that I am not infringing your patent. If you still feel that I am infringing your patent, then I have another line of argument, which is I can also prove your patent is invalid. What is my gain in it? Of course, money. Just before I came to India on this trip in last week of July, I had to testify in court on a case. Case was pharma case, of course. Amphetamine salts. Amphetamine salts are used for what treatment? ADHD, okay. The first problem with amphetamine is, or pharmacology and therapeutics is, what is the side effect of amphetamine? First side effect is it gives you euphoria. And once it gives you euphoria, it is addictive. So that's the reason why sustained release amphetamines have come on board since 60s. You know Spansules, correct? Sustained release amphetamine capsules. So Takeda, what they did was, they said, well, I'm not going to do a sustained release, but I will link a protein with amphetamine salt. So they made a prodrug. Okay. L-lysine D-amphetamine is Lisdex. This product, once Lisdex or so-called L-lysine D-amphetamine prodrug is in water, you take it by mouth, it breaks down. The prodrug is promoiety is cut off by hydrolysis. Hydrolysis takes time. So 60 milligrams of amphetamine on its own immediate release formulation compared against 60 milligrams effective of prodrug will take longer time. Cmax will be reduced compared to the amphetamine alone. So I put it in an immediate release formulation of a prodrug functioning as a sustained release. Okay, immediate release formulation, I'm not quoting nothing. Immediate release formulation working as a sustained release. That's the invention part. Nonetheless, this is Vyvanse product which is $2.33 billion worth today. We are into generics, we get sued. So now I have to prove as a part of generic that, well, no, we are not doing something like that. Takeda only has to prove that you are doing exactly what you are doing. Okay? 4 types of infringement. Literal is one thing we talked about. Whatever is in the innovative product in the patent claim is found in the generic product. That is literal. Whichever party you are, let's say this is the innovator and this is the generic, you have to prove that all 5 elements are in this product. These guys have to prove that at least one element I am not there, so I am not infringing. Number 2 is indirect infringement. Make in India, make in India, make in India, we heard a lot, right? Can we manufacture a product in India which is patented on contract? Yes or no? Can we manufacture a product which is patented in India by somebody else? You cannot. That is infringement. Remember our airline story. Can you deliver a product in another country where the patent is asserted? You cannot. So now imagine a situation. Now this is a little amusing but a very important story here. For pharma, product is manufactured in India because the product is not patented. So we do the manufacturing. We like Afghanistan, so we want to deliver it in Afghanistan where their patent is not asserted. So you make the batches which are a cargo of 10 quintals or so-called large amount. Now you want to deliver it in Afghanistan. How will you do that? You have to cross Pakistan. In Pakistan there is the patent which is asserted. So if you cross Pakistan by air, land or water, you are infringing. Your product will be stopped at customs, it will be expounded, you will have to pay a fine. So what you have to do? You have to take it all the way through Singapore, Indian Ocean, Singapore, because Singapore and Suez Canal in Europe are IPR free zones. Take it through Singapore all the way down and get to Kabul. Is it worth it? That is indirect infringement. And now last example, and then we'll start to wind up. Let's see your chemistry. I know you're hungry, me too, but let's see your chemistry. For an acid labile drug, acid unstable drug, how do you stabilize it? By a base. Whoever said that is correct. So you take omeprazole, which is acid labile. You combine it with disodium hydrogen phosphate, mix it, compress it into a tablet. That is the core, element number 1. Now when you have to apply an entry coat because it has to be stable through acid in stomach. Whenever you paint a wall, you first use a foundation coat, correct? So same thing for entry coating, you have a foundation coat, which is water soluble HPMC coat. Element number 2, on the core tablet you apply the foundation coat. On that you apply the entry coat. Now the question to you is entry coat acidic or basic? If it is basic, it will not dissolve in the intestine. It has to not dissolve in the gastric phase, but it has to dissolve in the intestinal phase. It is acidic. Correct? So now Prilosec is nothing but 3 elements: the core tablet, omeprazole for disodium hydrogen phosphate, and foundation coat and entry coat, which is acidic. One fine generic company came up and said that, well, we will do element number 1, which is the drug plus disodium hydrogen phosphate. We will not apply second element, which is the foundation coat, water soluble. We will directly apply the entry coat. So theoretically, they are not infringing because it does not have the second coat, subcoat. Now the question to you, when an acid and a base is present in the presence of moisture, what will happen? Salt formation will happen. Is salt water soluble? Salt is water soluble. So now the entry coat is acidic, the core tablet is basic, there is moisture in the tablet. So in spite of the generic company not applying the subcoat, it forms on its own. Right? So AstraZeneca just sued them and said, well, yes, we agree that you don't apply the subcoat, but it forms on its own anyway. They showed it to the judge, saying, well, see, judge, this is the tablet. There is a ring on that, the TOFSIM analysis, pharma analysis, TOFSIM analysis, and then there is a gray area, which is the entry coat. So this is induced infringement. You are not doing it, but it happens on its own. You cannot say, I've jumped a red light. Oh, I didn't know there was a red light. You can't say that. That is induced infringement. Now, in all of this, where is the law? It's all technical, isn't it? It's all technical. Who is the one who is be able to prove whether it is infringing or not, it is valid or not? 76 cases, all technical based. Who can demonstrate by clear, convincing and compelling evidence is the scientist. So in domain number 3 also you are the king. Couldn't be better. So let's start to look at what are the takeaways. What is September 14th? Sorry, it's February 14th. Yeah, I know. But generally, what it is? What does a guy tell a girl on 14th of February? Let's put it like that. My life starts with you and ends with you. So, scientist's role in all 3 areas is it starts with you and ends with you. Couldn't be better. Alright, now let's talk about career and money and so on and so forth. I have worked with over 50 law firms worldwide, more than 100 IP lawyers, subject matter experts. All of them, their first degree is not law. Their first degree is technical degree. They are doctors, they are pharmacists, they are PharmDs, they are biotechnologists, they are engineers, they are microbiologists, they are medical technologists, and then there is the IP part. I have instituted almost 5 IP departments in corporations in India. 3 of them are in pharma companies, 1 in medical device and 1 in IT. Their heads are not IP lawyers, they are technical. So if you have a pharmacy degree, combine it with IPR, you will be hot potato in entire pharma industry, plus other industries as well. IPR is IPR. An employer has an advertisement for a position in formulation development. Requirement is a M Pharm or B Pharm with research experience in formulation. 2 applications come to me because I am the employer deciding. One of the applicant has an M Pharm with formulation as the project, M Pharm thesis. The other one also has the same plus IPR additionally. Who will I go for? Ultimate question, what is the pay package difference? So not only you will get an added advantage over your competitor, but also you will get professional recognition plus a career in all disciplines, not only restricted to only pharma. The general package is, if you look at the comparison, you will get at least additional 30 to 40% extra. Plus your track will also be, see, my first degree is not in law or in IPR. My first degree is in pharmacy. Then I have a medical degree, plus then I have a advanced training in control release technology from MIT, and then I have IPR. On an average, an expert witness, or when you folks will with this training, you start to become experts in 5 to 10 years. We charge anywhere between $750 to $1,000 per hour for expert witness in IPR. We charge anywhere between $350 to $500 per hour for prosecution to tell you whether you have an invention. Per hour. We charge anywhere between $500 to $700 for responding to queries that come from patent office or that come from as challenges. We are not entitled for whether the result is in your favor or not. So this is a very lucrative area if you really only want to concentrate on money part and money gains. Okay? It will give you openings in other than pharma, so your competition will automatically be set aside. Number 2, you will have entry into other disciplines as well. Number 3, you will be the very few ones who will have this expertise. Now, last 10 minutes on. I know. See, there is something known as limit and scope of a claim. Okay? Limit and scope of a claim is where your invention starts and where your invention ends is the limit. Scope is undefined. Now, this is very important. Of course, everything else is too, but this is particularly not for you as much. Sorry, take it back. It is not only for you, but also for the institution. not only pharma, but all institutions of Mallaredi. Okay? So let's go through this very quickly. Current scenario in India is yet to recognize the full potential of the entire IPR, prosecution, preservation, and protection. Why? Because we lack motivation. I can see that here. We lack motivation. Number two, we lack policies. And number three is publish and perish is the general theme, but it should be converted to patent and prosper, where prosperity is not just making money, but more than that. Focus should be us, researchers and students. Syllabus talks about basics of IPR and law. No one talks about what the inventor, you, should do with his or her research work. Now you know. Educators need to incorporate IP into their curriculum discussion to increase knowledge and importance and benefits of protecting IPR. That was our motivation to set up the center. This is a non-profit center that you already know when I was being introduced. So in 2016, we are the first ones in the world. We are the first ones who are also registered under the Societies Act. So we are legal, not just a department. Number three, we are filing for trademark and copyright for our logo. We should get that pretty soon. Vision and mission, let's skip that. What are our objectives? Now this is where it comes to you. We have, first objective is academic advancement. We have professional courses in IPR covering not only the three domains, but looking beyond that. Number two, which is very important for you folks, is continuous update and upgradation. Every year we have an international conference on IPR in November, December, where international experts come and present their work or their thoughts. Parallelly, we also have a research showcase presentation, which is very important to you, because that is the platform where you can present your research work and get it assessed for IPR from international experts or world experts on IP one-on-one. Additionally, we have incentivized it. We recognize 3 research showcase presentations every year that have highest IP potential. Since last 6 years, 5 applications have been filed, 2 outside India, 1 in India, and 3rd in PCT, 5th in PCD. So there is a success story there. So your projects, this is a platform where you can present it. Okay. Then we also provide IP services. Where are we? These are the 6 courses that we give. Whoever completes these 6 courses individually as well as collectively will get a postgraduate certification in IPRs. There are some individuals who have covered 3. Their job prospects have already gone up. They have been sought out by companies in India. So it is happening. Okay? 2021, we set up a 5-year dedicated campaign. This is part of the campaign, where a 5-year dedicated effort to enhance the knowledge base and awareness of IP to the scientific communities across disciplines, across state boundaries in the entire country. We are not talking about one institution or somebody who invites me or tells that, well, listen to this guy. It's our own campaign. Our objective is to induce spirit of inquiry in translating theoretical science into innovative products. Hopefully I've done at least 10% of that today through this presentation. Where are we going with it? So far we have accessed 15 states, 1 union territory, right from Kargil to Trivandrum, from Gujarat to West Bengal. By end of this month, we will be entering Chhattisgarh, Bilaspur. Okay, so that is our campaign. So far, we have accessed almost 40 universities, 10 disciplines, 5 associations. This is 167th presentation at no cost to the institution. At no cost to the institution. We have over 35 MOUs where we are integrating IP into the curriculum. Where we wish to be, covering 28 states, 4 union territories. Climax baki hai. I'm not going to let you go. This is the climax. You guys are all very heavy on Google, your cell phones. This is our website which we have launched last year. The important part is when you get to the website, you will come to know what we are doing, plus what is in the works for next 3 months, and you can participate in any of those activities which we welcome you. Okay? Last but not the least, mark your calendars for December 5 and 6. December 5 and 6. December is good to be in Goa. Goa is very good in December. So December 5 and 6 is our 8th international conference in IPR. All of you are invited. I want all of you to be there. Plus I want your presentations at the site. Okay? Thank you very much. Any questions, if at all?
So, sir has given excellent lecture on this IPR. Hope you all enjoyed. That's the power of a teacher. If you leave the teacher without timetable means we'll speak for 3 or 4 hours easily. Right? Okay? So that's why our hands are restricted with the timetable and all. Okay. So, senior most teacher worked even in the US about more than 40 years he's working there, more than 40 years. So most of you, even not even 40 years, of course only faculty only there. Okay, any questions?
My birth date is 29th February. So every 4 years I age 1 year, so I am still a teenager, okay? And that is patentable.
Moraji Desai, sir. Any questions from the audience, students, faculty? So very occasionally we have such a great people here who is working in the Westfield University of Indiana, USA. Sir, where is this conference, sir? Goa only? Goa. What is that fee structure? How much you have to pay to attend? 200 rupees. So better you all attend Goa conference. Right? You can enjoy the lessons. You can enjoy the lessons. Goa is nothing is there. Any beach is same thing only. Right? Okay, you can enjoy this Goa conference. Sir said, just is reasonable. The fees is on 200 rupees only. 200 only. Very minimal. Okay? Check.
invite Dr. Pathiban sir for vote of thanks.
Just few minutes, I'll take 1 or 2 minutes. Please be seated. Like it's a privilege for me to present a vote of thanks. I thank Professor Umesh Banakar sir. Session was very entertaining and informative. Sir has given a lot of information regarding what should be patented, what should not be patented, and how much you can earn. So that is the main part. So sir has seeded an idea. Obviously it cannot be patented. So everyone in this auditorium, so we'll have an idea to invent something and get patent for it and commercialize it and earn in millions. And I like to thank Principal sir for supporting me and guiding me to conduct this event. His motivation towards the faculty members and students made this event possible. And I like to thank the different committee members, the stage committee, Jyoti ma'am, Rajeshwari ma'am, Ramya ma'am, and Parveen ma'am for arranging such a beautiful session. And I like to thank the registration committee, Dr. Divya ma'am, Dr. Sirisha ma'am, Asya ma'am, Manga ma'am, and other ma'am who got more than 300 registrations in 2 days. And then I like to thank scientific committee for those who motivated the students to present more than 80 posters. I like to thank Dr. Vijayashree ma'am, Sridhar sir, Anisha ma'am, Sunita ma'am, Manisha ma'am, Manoranjan ma'am. Like the list is very big. We should thank each and every one of them. We are fortunate enough to get a good faculty members. Those are very unite to organize an event. So we will give a big round of applause and we will end the event. Thank you for being such a. We will have a good day. Afternoon we will see in the poster session. It will start by 2 o'clock. Have your lunch and be ready with your poster by 2 o'clock in MRCP. Thank you.
Excuse me, please, everyone stay back. I request everyone to stand up for national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय है भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब